Okay. Welcome to Come Well to another episode, another doorway, another portal, entitled Am I as I am, as you are, just as you are. Today's topic, we're going to be touching upon another interesting principle. And let me just go right into the title. Today's topic is going to be entitled, What is Anchoring? What is an anchor? What does it mean to be anchored? What is an anchoring? So the principle is the principle of anchor, or to anchor yourself in something, or the self being anchored in something. So that's what today we're going to touch upon. And of course, you already know the format. As you walk past the doormat into this doorway, we take a line for line and or doorway after doorway, and together we walk down this hallway. All right. Okay. So the first line and or doorway is sensation, stimulation, satisfaction, pleasure. Okay, before I go into that, understand what I mean by anchoring. Anchoring is basically like a ship or a boat. When they're on the sea or the river, they throw their anchor overboard, sinks in the water, down to the ground of the water. And it anchors them in that position, in that specific location, on that face of water. So to be anchored is to be basically in a fixed location of some sort. To be in a location, to be fixed in a kind of location, or in a fixed location of some sort for some reason. So this is the principle we're going to touch upon today. What is anchoring? And go back into the first line and or first doorway that I touched upon. Once again, the first line and or doorway is sensation, stimulation, satisfaction, pleasure. These are things which anchor you in this reality. Sensation, stimulation, satisfaction, pleasure, which basically deals with the body. Your senses, sensation, stimulation of the senses, satisfaction to some sort of degree of climax, pleasure. Also dealing with climax as well, or maybe a euphoric feeling, or a blissful feeling, or an ecstatic feeling. All these feelings keep you in this feeling vehicle, which is what we call the human body. Okay? And these things can either turn into habit, routine, infatuation, obsession, or addiction. And these kind of things are mostly associated with or affiliated with love, relationships, care, feelings, moods, etc. And these are things, it's not wrong or right things, bad or good things, pure or evil things. These are just things that happen within certain experience to experience, or situation to situation, that unfold into circumstances that you are a feeling vehicle participating in the feeling reality, or the reality of feeling. And these feelings, like I said before, I touched upon in one of my older videos, the feeling is the falling into the body. The falling into the body is the filling, or the filling of the body. And the more you fill the body up, the more you go into your brain. So it becomes the fooling. So You have the feeling, the falling into the body, the filling of the body, and the fooling of the brain. So, in other words, the more you feel, the more you become susceptible to fool, to fooling yourself that this reality is actually a real reality. Okay? This is why certain things like sensation, stimulation, satisfaction, and pleasure, uh, these can either turn into habit, routine, infatuation, obsession, or addiction with the person or thing. In other words, it's the feeling diving deep into the feeling, diving deep into the feeling, diving deep into the feeling, and the feeling, and the feeling, and the feeling. And the more these levels of feeling dive deeper into itself, the more fixed you become in this physical reality, soiled in the soil of feeling. And the more deep you get in this quicksand of feeling, the more difficult or challenging it is to get out of it, when and if you want to. You know, you're able to, but can you do it? Depends on your willpower and knowledge of self and wisdom as well. Okay. Let's go to the next line. The next line and or doorway is: the deeper you anchor yourself in this physical reality, the more difficult and or challenging it will be for you to come out of it and back up to surface. The more people basically, this especially goes for women, but for male and female, the more people you're sexually involved with, because you're creating memory in your body of these people or this person and that person, that person and that person, or these people. The more people you're sexually involved with, the more kids you have, the more debt you accumulate, the more body damage you go through, etc. It makes it more difficult and challenging to pull the anchor back up to surface, because you've created gross and accumulation and gathering and collections, which, if you think about it, gather, accumulate, collection, these things equate to weight. WEIGHT. So you begin to have a weight. And weight deals with gravity, which is also related to the word grave. So as the anchor gets engraved deeper inside of the grave of soil, you become more heavy with weight. The more heavy you are with weight, the more it makes it more difficult for you to lift that weight back up to the surface. So the more anchored you become in this reality. Okay? It's dealing with people with a whole bunch of kids, a lot of kids, because they have more things to give their attention to make sure that they're okay, which kind of might, most likely, throws one mind off from their own path of awareness of self and consciousness. Unless they have the children controlled to a certain degree and discipline to a certain degree, where they can actually have that space and that privacy and that silence to their self to gain back their centered and balance, their centering and balance of self, to get back into that quiet and silent space that others respect, that space that they're in. Their children, their wife or their husband, whoever it may be, however it may unfold. Okay? So, like I said, the more people you're sexually involved with, the more people you have in you, your womb, or the more people you stick your penis in, the more memory you collect in that body. The more memory you collect, the more it's a past accumulation, which keeps you in the past, which makes it more difficult and more challenging for you to stay in your present mode. In order to lift that anchor back up out this reality, you have to be potent within your present mode of reality, of existence, and this experience. So how do I lift the anchor up? By remaining present, by having awareness, and by being conscious and wise with a sense of knowledge of what the hell you are and where the hell you're at. This makes the anchor more lighter. This makes it more easier to lift the anchor back up to the surface of the water, to put back on the ship to keep traveling. Okay? Okay. Next line in our doorway is what we know as pain is an anchor, or also known, or can be identified as an anchor, or anchoring some sort. Pain deals with, in other ways, many ways, or different ways, mental stress and physical pain keeps your attention here in this third dimensional reality, or what I call third density. So pain is an anchor or an anchoring of some sort. And this comes along with mental stress and physical pain. And mental stress plus physical pain equals to keeping your attention here in this illusional reality, or this physical reality. So the more mental stress, the more stress you have in your brain, and the more pain you have in your body, it keeps your attention here because you're trying to supersede this, get past this, heal this in order to see beyond this, or be of something further than this. But until this is at a certain kind of level that doesn't distract you or interfere with your path, this is always going to be an irritant or an agitation to some degree. And that is a distraction which will throw your attention off of your path of your self-awareness, your consciousness, and it'll plant you and anchor you back here in this illusion, this physical reality, in this third density, or what you know as third dimensional place of existence, which is known as the human experience. Okay? All right. The next line in our doorway is something that keeps your attention, interest, involvement, and participation here in this physical reality. This is the ego realm, the realm of the ego. Everything here is saying, look at me, listen to me, play with me. Look at me, listen to me, play with me. So anchoring is something that keeps your attention here. The more you have things that grab your attention and keep your attention here, the more you become anchored in this physical reality. Now, once again, I said there's nothing bad or good to it. There's nothing pure or evil to want to be or participate, involve yourself and keep your attention in this physical reality. But just understand that the more you cater to one side, like you're physical, but you're unphysical as well. So the more you give more of your attention to the physical side, the more that physical side becomes heavier and weighs down more in the grave. It becomes anchored in something, in ma'at, what we call balance, M-A-T, the ma'atian balance. The more that physical reality gets anchored, the more the unphysical lifts. So this base is what you choose to have your experience in. This is your existence and your experience. This is your experience, pardon me. So the more your experience gets anchored within the base of your existence, the more the unphysical creates distance from your existence, making it just that much more difficult to get back to your existence, because you're so engrossed and so involved in participating into the physical existence. So as this goes down, the physical experience, so as this physical experience goes down in the base of your being, the primal core of your being, the unphysical or the spiritual aspect rises higher than the base of your being, creates that space and that distance between that, just making that much more difficult and challenging for you to get back or retreat back to that true base of self, of where you're truly at and what you truly are. what I'm saying? So this is the understanding of how this goes, okay? It creates a weight. And as it creates this weight, then you are on a weight. So this creates a weight, W-E-I-G-H-T, and it's going to make you wait, W-A-I-T, just that much more longer for you to get that, for you to counteract and then get back to yourself with the unphysical aspect of your true being. This is the physical aspect, this is the unphysical aspect, the human body, the spiritual aspect. You see, so, and this is the sea floor of your being. So whatever anchor you play with, as whatever anchor goes down, the other anchor lifts up like a seesaw. See, so as the other anchor lifts up, it creates that distance, making it just that much more challenging and difficult for you to get back to the base of self. Okay? And this is how this reality just plays. This is how this physical reality just is. Something to keep in mind and keep in heart. No, keep in mind and keep in heart. Pardon me, not the brain. Keep in mind and keep in heart. Okay. Next line in our doorway is relationships, hardships, trials and tribulation, arguing, disagreements, etc. These are also anchors or anchorings. These things are things that keep that mental dialogue, dealing with judgment of others and self-judgment in constant replay in the brain, echoing throughout the brain, along with personality, behavior, and character, because that's all about self-confirmation and self-validation, keeping you stuck in the personality. So the arguing, the disagreements, the conflict, trials and tribulations, the relationships, marriages, partnerships, whatever you want to call it, ships. These things are very engrossed in mental dialogue. And the mental dialogue is basically contained with judgment of others and self-judgment. So you're on this scale, you're just bouncing back and forth. And the scale is also known as the left brain and right brain hemisphere. So which means that you are not in the freedom aspect of your being, which is the mind, but you're stuck in the maze or imprisoned inside the brain, the left brain and right brain hemisphere. Good, bad, pure evil, pure evil. You're stuck in the side picking. See, so know how to break out of this cycle and don't become a psycho. Because if you get stuck in this cycle, you become psycho. And the psychosis, you become insane. See, the more you become insane, of course, also is known as a certain kind of depth or degree of anchor or anchorage or anchoring in this reality. The more deeper you become anchored in it, once again, the more difficult and challenging it is to pull back up to surface and come out of that possession. Okay, so also keep in mind as well, possession is also another way of anchoring yourself, becoming possessed. Because then it's like a sense of loss of control. Loss of control, there's an absence of discipline. Absence of discipline, you don't have that device anymore to use or utilize to bring yourself back to that point of clarity for your own benefit of how you truly and really would want to be. All right. Okay. The next line and or doorway is anchoring is anything that appeals to the senses. Anything that appeals to the senses. Of course, you know the senses: smell, taste, touch, hear. So you have taste with the tongue, touch with the hands, hear with the ears, and also see as well with the eyes. So it's anything that basically catches your attention and appeals to these five senses. Was it see, smell, taste, touch, and hear? I guess see, smell, taste, touch, and hear. So five senses. And the depth of your anchor or your anchoring or your anchorage depends upon the involvement and participation or the attention of these five senses. So the more you give these five senses play, the more and more and more and more you give these five senses play, the more you become entrapped within this body and anchored within this third density reality. Because the body is looking to validate itself. The body is looking to confirm itself. It's not looking to validate or confirm you, your life force, your true being, or your true nothingness. It's looking to validate itself. It's out for itself. It has its own back. It doesn't have your back. It's out for itself. So this is why I say at the same time that you're personal with a personality, also practice on becoming impersonal. Understand what being impersonal really is and the true benefits of being impersonal. Like I always say, be the one witnessing, be the one experiencing the experience with the mind, body, and brain, but also be the one witnessing the experience. Witness what the brain has in thought. Witness how the mind is thinking. Witness what the body is feeling. See, so be the feeling of the body, be the thoughts in the brain, be the thinking of the mind, but also witness what the body is feeling. Witness what the brain, witness the thoughts of the brain, and witness how the mind is thinking. Create that space, create that gap. The more you create that space and that gap, the more lighter the anchor is that's anchored into the ground, which makes it easy to pull it back up to the surface. Because it makes you impersonal or parted from this reality, and you keep it at bay or at a respectful distance from you. It's okay to infuse. At the same time, learn how to suspend. Infuse but suspend. Infuse but suspend. Learn this trick. Okay? Something to keep in mind and keep in heart. So I was talking about with senses, dealing with the smell, like cologne, perfume, your favorite cologne, your favorite perfume, smelling flowers, smelling the cooking of food, because I love the smell of cooking food, and these are things that keep you anchored here because now you're waiting for your next meal. You like the smell of that cologne, you want to know, well, what's that cologne you have on? Oh, wow, what's that perfume you have on? I really like the smell of it. It keeps you going forward. And as it keeps you going forward, it keeps you here. And then you have a sense like taste. Taste deals with food, liquor, wine, and sexuality, people with their tongue on people's body parts, drinks like juice, water, etc. So so far, you have smell, taste. So smell with the nose, taste with the mouth. You have touch with the hands, things that you like to touch, her body, uh, rocks, mountains, animals, whatever you may touch, cups, plates, bowls, forks, spoons, a wall, grass, dirt, animals, whatever. This creates a certain kind of attachment to things. Okay, and hearing with the ears. So you have smell, taste, touch, hear. And that's like music or sounds. So you become addicted or you become attached or anchored with sounds, theme songs, music, uh, tracks, beats, instrumentals, just regular sounds of nature, rain, snow hitting the ground or accumulating, hail, hitting the glass of the windshield or the house windows. These sounds keeps you wanting to hear it more, keeps you wanting to taste it more, keeps you wanting to smell something more, keeps you wanting to hear something more. And then you have sights like beauty or atmosphere or environment or nature or animals, colors, shapes. These are all things to keep you anchored here. It's just something to be aware about as you travel this path. Okay? And it's funny too because you even look at the ancestors, what they call the universe. They call the universe, it was once known as the waters of Nu, N-U, the waters of Nu. And it's funny how I'm talking about the topic of what is anchoring, which is to be anchored or to anchor into something or anchorage or anchoring into something. So, it's interesting. It's ironic, I guess, if you want to call it that. Okay, hold on a second. The next line and or doorway is, a second. I want to get up for a minute. Okay, the next line and or doorway is, this reality is set up to keep you in the body and to remain here in this place as long as possible. In other words, this reality is saying, hi and welcome. Here's what you call a body. Here's what you call a mind. It's yours. It's free. Isn't it beautiful? Isn't it nice? Look what it can do for you. Why would you want to leave here? Look how good it makes you feel. Uh, don't you feel good in it? Who in their right mind would want to leave here? This is paradise. This is heaven. This is what the body is telling you. Understand that. Once again, this reality is set up to keep you in this body and to remain here in this place as long as possible. In other words, this reality is saying, hi and welcome. Here's what you call a body. Here's what you call a mind. It's yours. It's free. Isn't it beautiful? Isn't it nice? Look what it can do for you. Why would you want to leave here? Look how good it makes you feel. Don't you feel good in it? Who in their right mind would want to leave here? This is paradise. This is heaven. This is what you hear, feel, and sense as soon as you appear in this reality, in this body, to be more precise. So this whole reality that you appeared in is meant to keep you here. It's meant to keep your attention, everything, your interest, participation, your involvement here. It's going to always have something for you to involve yourself in, to participate in, to give your attention to, and to have an interest in. Always. And this, again, is one thing which anchors you here. These are anchors that drop every desire, every pleasure, everything that you have, every experience that you have, a sensation, a touch, a hearing, a feeling, a smelling experience is anchoring you. So you have so many anchors. How many anchors are you aware of that you actually contain? Are you aware of the anchors that drop to the bottom sea floor level of your experience? And this is another way of understanding what being glued to something, that glue effect, gluing yourself to something. Glue is also known or equivalent to feeling, because feeling is a certain kind of gluing effect. A gluing is a certain kind of anchoring effect. See, so the manual I have coming out, it's going to be on Amazon.com pretty soon. It's a manual uh, followed by a book that I have coming out, and it touches upon these principles and certain aspects and concepts of what I built upon with you in this video cast about. From a more clear, precise, easy to follow method and manual, according to your day to day or moment to moment, day to day lifetime or lifetime. What you call lifetime, I call it lifetime because you're nothing but life. Okay. So one thing to keep in mind. The next line in our doorway is, this is why we worship or give reverence to gods, spirits, deities, entities, people like leaders, etc. This reality is also saying, hey, and even if you don't really like yourself that much, if you don't like yourself that much, you have all these other entities to choose from to divert and direct your attention away from and to and into. It's all yours for free. This is what this reality is saying. It's sort of like a backup plan. It's sort of like this reality always has a backup plan, or behind the backup plan, behind the backup plan, behind another backup plan, like a net under another net, under another net, under another net, under another net, and etc., 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 and so on and so on and so on. Just to keep you here. So while people have spirits or spiritual entities or deities that they worship, there's something here that always has your back, but the agenda of having your back is to keep you here. So if you like yourself, worship, you can worship certain traits of yourself or appreciate certain aspects of yourself. If you don't like yourself, you can create a spirit, you can create a deity, you can create entities, you can create gods or a god to worship if you don't find yourself worshipable or enough to worship to some degree. This reality gives you the opportunity to create something other than you, to direct your attention to. So this whole reality is equipped with everything that you need to stay here and give this the attention that it needs from you. Everything. Whatever you need, I got it. That's what this reality is saying. Whatever you desire, whatever you wish, whatever you grant, whatever you request, whatever you want, anything, I got you. Just think it and so shall it be. You are a God. Stand that. Okay. The next line in our doorway is attention, diversion, direction, and redirection. There's so much to look at, so much to be, and so much to get into here. So attention, diversion, things that divert your attention away from what you are attentive to. Direction, where you direct it to, and redirection, things that redirect where your direction was directed towards in the first place. So there's so many different angles that you can look at, give your attention to, which is why I guess the whole point of the 360 understanding or peripheral vision, which is why I can look into this camera right now. I'm looking into this camera, but I could also see what's to the left of me, and I can also see what's to the right of me without actually giving my attention to it. But I'm attentive, or I'm aware of it. I'm aware of it whether I acknowledge it or not. I'm still aware of it. I'm still aware of my surroundings in a 360-degree point of focus without actually focusing on my right side or my left side and concentrating on my left side or my right side. You see, so it's you're always aware of your surroundings, regardless. Whatever you may give your direct attention to. There's always something else on the side showing itself off and showing you that it's there and saying, hey, when you stop your attention here, you can look here and I'll be there. You can, whenever you feel like stopping your attention, focus, and concentration here, you can divert it or redirect it, and I'm going to be there because you see me through your peripheral vision. You are aware of me through your peripheral vision, whether you're looking at me or not. So there's always somewhere to look at, whether it's up or down, left or right, behind you, wherever it may be, however it may be, it's always there. So you're a 360-degree ciphering orbit of existence within a 360-degree experience. So it's always going to catch you, no matter where you're looking at, no matter what you're doing, what you're being, it doesn't matter. This is how this reality works. Be aware of the anchoring effect and how many anchors you're implanting into the bottom sea level of your experience. Because that's what's going to make it more challenging and difficult for you to retrieve back to your existence or existential aspect of self. That intangible, invisible, translucent, and transparent aspect and reality of your true divine nature. Okay? The next line in our doorway is, this reality is saying, keep this and that on your mind. Think about her. Think about him. What are they doing? Where are they at? Who are they with? Did I leave the stove on? I ate too late last night, etc. So this brain that we have is also a certain kind of anchoring apparatus or something that keeps you anchored here because it keeps you in constant thought. And if it keeps you in constant thought and you're not of the mind and thinking, because thinking is freedom, thought is entrapment. So if you're in constant thought of the brain, this thing inside the skull, that you are in constant anchoring. You are constantly creating more and more anchors, which is equivalent to creating more and more weight on yourself, within yourself, as yourself. So the more weight you create, how are you ever going to lift out of this third density experience? Because if you're truly not the body to begin with, besides the body's weight, stress, confusion, aggravation, agitation, sickness, pain, etc., 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 these things accumulate weight. And if you're truly not the body, how are you supposed to transcend beyond the body? If you're stuck in the weight of the body and in the weight of the brain and the weight of the heart. These things carry a whole different kind of weight besides the physical body weight. So it's weight on top of weight on top of weight. You got three different kinds of weights that you are anchoring yourself in this reality. How are you ever supposed to transcend beyond the body or beyond the physical dimension if you have three different kinds or three different types of weight on your unphysical existence? So this is a kind of trap, and this can also be a kind of trap if you don't utilize it correctly. It has a certain operation and function, but if you don't know how it naturally operates and functions, you finished. Okay? Yeah. So that's how that goes. Okay, the next line in our doorway is the who, what, when, where, why, and hows of life are all anchors. These are all extensions and extendings. Extensions and extendings. Anything that will support the extension of your stay here in this place. This place imprisons your space because you are nothing but space. But the more you anchor yourself here, the more that space converts and transforms into a place. See, so the more you become anchored here, the more your true divine nature of space gets entrapped or imprisoned in something that we call a place. And a place is an address or location. But in reality, you are everywhere and anywhere and nowhere at the same time, mentally and spiritually. But the more you become fixed in this location or that address and this person and that thing, the more you get fixed here in a fixed location. You become local. See, rather than the true everywhere and anywhere that you truly are. Okay? So the way of looking at it. So the who did it, what they have, when did they do it, where are they at, how did it happen? These are all expectations, and expectations are also extensions or extendings. You're waiting to be filled in with information, and information is in dash form ation. So you're becoming informed. You are being placed in a form, informed, informed, in a formation, which is what you call information. Information just means in a formation. And you wasn't even formed to begin with. You're actually a formless thing, a formless phenomenon. Okay? The next line in our doorway is anchors are also, or how to identify anchors or becoming anchored or anchoring is goals, having goals, plans, future, expectations, past, regrets, accomplishments, bliss, ecstasy, orgasm, pride. And these are just a few examples. Anything that keeps you embedded, engraved within the body and the feeling of the body and the body's feelings, is equivalent to an anchoring effect or anchoring yourself in this third density, in this physical reality, in other words. Okay? And the more deeper the feeling, the more tighter the connection, the more heavy the anchor. See, so be aware of this because it hits you or becomes most potent at times when you are mentally and emotionally connected to a person or a thing. This is its best opportunity to plant that heavy anchor and have a lot of weight on that anchor to anchor you in this reality. So this is why it's best to be aware. This is why it's best to be the one having the experience and also be the one witnessing the experience. Witnessing at the same time witnessing the experience that you're having in the physical aspect. The witnessing is the unphysical aspect. The experiencing is a physical aspect. So respect that spacing gap, acknowledge that spacing gap. By you acknowledging that spacing gap, once again, as I told you before in other videos, just by acknowledging that space and that gap between this and that, you automatically fall into that space and that gap and become that space and that gap. And all this is just a show to you. You don't get fixed in that or fixed in that. You don't get fixated in that or fixated in that. You're just somewhere. And that somewhere is actually something that is nowhere. And you're able to vacillate back and forth as you choose, as you will, as you want, and or need. Next line in our doorway is what's known as punishment. Punishment here in this physical life, what's known as punishment is what we know as doing time. Talking about the jail or jail cell or things of that nature. So the punishment here means doing time. Understand that the body itself is a time machine or time vehicle. That's why the true divine punishment is always related to doing more time. Now, what does that mean in this aspect? What I'm talking about, doing more time in the body. If this vehicle is a time vehicle, then doing more time inside the time vehicle is actually known as a divine punishment. Or you're punishing yourself by being in this time vehicle more than you need to be in this time vehicle. Which is why the punishment is jail time or doing time. Time is the key word. Time is the punishment. So the more attention, the more you give this attention here, the more you want to spend time here. The more you're giving it time and the more you want to spend time here. So in other words, it's a form of self-punishment according to divine nature. Understand that. This is why our ancestors said, foolish are the long-lived. The foolish are the long-lived. The foolish are the long-lived. Which means the longer you live, the more foolish you are. Just do your time and keep it moving. Don't try to stay here longer. Don't even try to stay here shorter or try to cut your time. Don't try to extend your time. Don't try to cut your time. Just let time be. And let this body do what the body came to do and transcend beyond this shit. Transcend beyond it. That's the whole point. Don't try to hold on to it. Don't even focus on letting it go. It's gonna let go regardless. It has to, because the spiritual aspect of you or the life force will leave this when it's ready to. However it may happen. Whenever it may happen. Okay? So, foolish to long live, meaning why stay here for as long as you can? Just do your natural time here and keep moving or transition. Keep going. This is a forward thing. This is a forward phenomenon, a forward reality. Keep moving forward. Stop trying to hold on to this and hold on to this and hold on to this and hold on to this. Learn how to take pieces from it and keep on moving, keep on drifting. And as you drift, you can shift gears, create speed, create a little slower, however you want, but just learn to drift. At the same time, be a collector, gather. You're going to do it anyway because your memory, your brain collects memory. So whether you're doing it consciously or not is going to happen subconsciously and unconsciously regardless. But just learn your pace of life. Learn your pace. Be aware of what you are giving your attention to and what you are playing your five senses with. Because that's going to create the attachment, the glue, and the anchor. Okay? You also have things like entertainment, movies, music, sports, news, podcasts. Entertainment, is keeping your attention here as well because you become dazzled by it. Star-studded. A celebrity or an artist. These are beings that shit, piss, sweat, and bleed just like you, just like me. And it's known as well not to worship any other individual in the flesh that operates and functions just like you. We see we keep having these short stops and these pauses. We want to look at her and worship her, or worship him, look at him and give him all our attention, give her all our attention. Read everything about her life, read everything about his life, his documentary, her documentary, his biography, her biography. And the more you do that, the more you get stuck in your brain, which is of the past. The more the past is the weight that's holding you back from remaining or trying to get and sustaining the present moment and your present liveliness becoming live. It's creating dead weight. Those are dead bodies on you. How are you ever supposed to remain present? How are you ever supposed to pull that anchor, that 90-pound, that 900-pound anchor and turn it into a 9-pound anchor and pull it back out up the surface? How are you going to do that if you're stuck in the past or the brain or the maze? That's why you become amazed by people, amazed by stars, or amazed by celebrities, or amazed by artists, or amazed by all these people that have the same damn flesh, that go to the bathroom and take a shit, go to the bathroom and take a piss. You cut them, they bleed. They do exercise and they sweat and perspirate just like you. So you're a fool because you have a feeling for them. And you don't even know them personally. And even if you do know them personally, how do you know that you're going to get along with their personality? Because some people worship people from a TV screen or a laptop screen or a post on their wall and meet them and say that person was a true fucking asshole. I like them from the movie. They cool from there. I like their roles and their parts and how they're a good actor, good actress. But I hate them in person. They're not a very approachable person. I don't like them. So this is not downplaying or uplifting anyone, whether in the entertainment field or not. But I'm talking to the listener, the aware one, the one that's on this path, that has this calling to understand what I'm saying and interpret it according to their own understanding of what I'm displaying and projecting onto this video cast to you and through you. And make of it as you will. Decode it, decipher it, and see what it means to you. And that's not what it means to me. Because what it means to you is something totally different. And this is the whole point of sharing. Let us see what it means to you. And if it means something a little more familiar but also estranged, different to you, tell me about it. I'm always willing to learn anything and everything from any angle and every angle of this experience and its existence. No, I'm just a doorway. I'm just a conduit. A conduit of chaos, what I call COC. COC. A conduit of chaos. That's all that I am. I'm just being used by the divine forces to get this message out. Or a messenger, if you want to say. Just to get a message out. But I don't truly exist. Okay? Blue doesn't exist. Blue will meet his point of destruction, and I will still exist on. Okay. Um, the next line in our doorway is um, anchors also have to deal with what we know as school and work. Tags, titles, and labels. Tags in your shirt, titles. Well, I'm the manager, or I'm the supervisor, or I'm the driver, or I'm the boss, or you know, we have these titles and labels, and we want to live up to these illusional titles and labels, and um, these things keep you involved. I want to say trapped, but keeps you involved in the body and brain, dealing with stress, plans, dates to do things, etc. School and work. So school keeps you involved in next week or next month. Work keeps you involved in next week or next month or the next holiday or the next season. It's keeping you in anticipation and expectation. Anticipation, expectation. And it keeps you here. Once again, dealing with weathers and seasons, dealing with the four elements, the four quarters of a cycle, January through March, March through June, June, I think through August or September, October to November, or September through December. It's four quarters in the cycle, a solar cycle. I don't call it a year, I call it a solar cycle, what it's supposed to be called. And it just keeps you waiting, anticipating, and expecting something to happen. Even predictions as well. You're waiting to see what will happen. Waiting or creating the wait, the WAIT, you create the weight, WEIGHT. So the more you WAIT, the more you WEIGHT. The more you create the WEIGHT. See, so, which once again is equivalent to the weight, WEIGHT, of the anchor. And the heavier the anchor is, the more deeper it sinks into the ground. The more deeper it sinks into the ground, the more muscle or strength, which is physical strength, which is spiritual strength and mind strength, you're going to need or contain to pull that anchor back up out of that deep sunken ground, which it has deeply sunken into because of your ignorance or unawareness. Okay? The next line in our doorway is, you're really only here to transcend and transition. That's it. To remain as a projection and a hologram and a projection. That's how you master the game. That's how you beat the system. The system of physical reality, or third dimension, or third density. Okay? So, to remain as a projection, a hologram projection, you're vacillating and transcending beyond physical things. No matter, this is why you don't really look too much. Also, a certain practice would be stop looking in the mirror so damn much. Stop touching your body so damn much with the palms of your hands and your fingertips. Stop touching and validating and confirming that this is here. Stop touching your body so much. Stop looking in the mirror so much. Stop looking in the water. Stop looking in glass when you walk past it so much. Stop validating and confirming this physical damn vehicle. The more you do that, the more you are anchoring or supporting anchorage. The more you are accumulating the weight on the anchor. The more you accumulate the weight on the anchor, the quicker it dives through the water, the quicker it sinks in the ground, the deeper it sinks in the ground. So it's all, basically what I'm saying is all about your attention. Once you understand what attention is according to metaphysics, which I learned in metaphysics as well years ago, attention is life. Attention is life. Attention is life. The more you give something attention, the more you're giving it life. Which means the more you're giving it a heartbeat. The more it's beating, the more it remains in a physical presence. The more it remains in a physical presence, the more you are going to give your attention to it. This is just basic 101 science and physics and metaphysics. The 101 occult wisdom. It's easy. I'm touching upon it from line to line and doorway to doorway, but it really isn't this damn complicated. I can have this whole conversation with you in an understanding in about 5 or 10 minutes, and you should just automatically get it. Because it's that simple. So I want to say that. About 2 more doorways. The next line and or doorway is, once again, like I said, attention is life. Be aware of how much life you're giving this physical reality. The more life you give it, the more you anchor within it, the more you live in it. So, be aware of how much life you're giving this physical reality. But why? Because the more life you give it, the more you anchor within it, the more you live in it. This is real shit. Nature, animals, scenery, environment, and atmosphere keeps your attention on it and to it. The more attention you give it, the more you sustain it and maintain it. The more you sustain it and maintain it, the more attention you give it. These are things to keep in mind and keep in heart as you travel this path. Kimah. K-I-M-A-H. K-I-M-A-H. And you're going to understand what I'm saying once you get the manual. It'll be on Amazon real soon. It's called 1 + 1 = 1, which is also bringing on the book behind it, which is 1 + 1 = 1. And it'll explain a lot more as it goes along. And like I said, this is for people in relationships, marriages, partnerships, and companionships. A union of some sort, a unity with another of some sort, some kind, to go beyond the brain and remain in the mind. The mind is freedom, the brain is entrapment. Okay, and the last line and or doorway is, we are imprisoned between the lowest chakra and the highest chakra, and the vacillating Shakti energy. We're not imprisoned between the head and the feet, because this is the whole body. The head is on top and the feet is on the bottom. So it's like, what do you mean I'm in the body? The body has a head on top and feet in the bottom. No. Yeah, but no. The top chakra, or the crown chakra, is known as the top of the head. Crown chakra. The lowest chakra is where your sacral bone or the coccyx bone is, which is where your sexual organ is at, or your anal hole, your rectum. This is known as top chakra, lower chakra. This is what you are imprisoned between. imprisoned. But you are imprisoned from the head to the feet. But you are imprisoned from the top chakra or the crown chakra to the root chakra, to the bottom chakra or the lower chakra. This is the true reality of what you are imprisoned by. From the feet to the top of the head is what you are imprisoned in. So why I say imprisoned and imprisoned? Because prison and prism are two totally different things. In the prison, you have cells. You're behind cells or a bar. Or, you're imprisoned behind the bars inside of a cell. The body has cells or cellular function. So you are imprisoned with an N between the head and the feet. You are imprisoned. And prism or prism is a kind of crystallization, a crystallizing of some sort between the crown chakra and the root chakra. This creates the crystal or the crystallization that you become imprisoned within. See, there's a difference. Imprisoned with an N and imprisoned with an M. You are crystallizing your reality through your top chakra, your crown chakra, and your root chakra, or your low chakra, your lowest chakra. You're crystallizing your reality. And as you become crystallized or become a crystal, you become imprisoned more within the cells, behind the cells of the body, or inside of the cells of the human body, which is the top of the head and the bottom of the feet. So you have two anchors. In other words, if you want to say, I guess, two anchors, right? It makes sense. One anchor is the top of the scalp and the bottom of the feet. The other anchor is the crown chakra and the root chakra. So you have two anchors. You appear in this reality with two damn anchors. Be aware of both anchors and be aware of the weight that you accumulate on each anchor as you anchor yourself in this physical reality. Awareness, knowledge, wisdom, and consciousness is key to making the weight on these two anchors more lighter to pull yourself up to the surface of the sea. Understand that. Am I as I am, as you are. See you guys next time. Until then, I'll keep you in vision. 1, 0.